Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan Elrom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, Israel is looking forward to working with the new White House team being assembled by U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. That's the word from Israel's ambassador to the United States, Ron Dermer, who made the remark right after meeting with the incoming U.S. leader at Trump Tower in New York. Dermer went on to say there is no doubt that Donald Trump is a true friend of the Jewish state. The Israeli diplomat added that Vice President-elect Mike Pence is likewise a friend, given his record as one of the most pro-Israel governors in the country, as well as when he served as chairman of the Congressional Israel Allies Caucus. Dermer expressed his certainty that relations between the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Trump administration will make the bilateral alliance between the two nations stronger than ever.
France is still planning to host an international conference on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict next month. Paris officials are denying several recent reports that French President François Hollande had said that the summit was shelved because of heavy international opposition, not only from Israel, but also the United States. A spokesperson for the French Foreign Ministry is dismissing that as untrue, maintaining that Hollande only said that the gathering had been subject to a state of uncertainty in the wake of the U.S. presidential elections. According to the State Department, Paris has been informed that the Americans lack enthusiasm over the initiative since they don't believe any significant breakthroughs can be achieved due to its nature, as well as the Jewish state's refusal to attend.
Hundreds of law students, legislative scholars, and international legal experts gathered at the headquarters of the United Nations this past week to explore avenues in the fight against the anti-Israel boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Professor Alan Dershowitz expressed his belief that the law is an effective means to counter BDS, since the campaign engages in discrimination based on national origin, which is illegal. The event was hosted by Israeli UN Ambassador Danny Danon in his capacity as the chairman of the UN Sixth Committee, which is the primary forum for the consideration of legal questions in the General Assembly. Danon said the time has passed when bullies could get away with harassing students on campus, and they can no longer mask their hate campaign under the guise of civil rights. He vowed to utilize every legal tool and measure to stop the movement, and concluded with a warning to BDS activists everywhere. See you in court.
You know, American lawmakers are also taking aim at BDS, Yochanan. In recent weeks, bipartisan bills have been introduced in the Senate and the House by members of both parties, calling for fines to be imposed on any compliant companies. The proposed legislation actually extends laws that have been on the books since the 1970s against the Arab boycott of Israel. The measures would also expand coverage to now protect Israeli companies based in Judea and Samaria. International governmental organizations will be included, and a revised definition of what a boycott is will now encompass those that were launched out of political motivations. One of the bill's co-sponsors, Democratic Senator Bob Cardin of Maryland, said that these additions came about after the UN Human Rights Council compiled a list of companies doing business in Israel's biblical heartland. Cardin told reporters that while criticism of Israel is legitimate, America will do everything in its power to stop the BDS movement from marginalizing the Jewish state in any way.
Late PLO terror boss Yasser Arafat once famously declared that the womb of the Palestinian woman is his people's most potent weapon. But his threat that one day the Arab population in Israel would exceed that of the Jewish community appears to have been erased by nature. According to figures released by the Israel Central Bureau of Statistics to mark International Children's Day, fertility rates of Jewish and Arab women are now identical for the first time in Israeli history. Jewish birth rates have been spiking while Arab numbers declined. Back in the year 2000, there were 2.6 children per Israeli Jewish woman, compared with 4.3 among Muslims. But now Jewish women are averaging 3.13 babies, which is the same as their Arab counterparts. As of 2015, just over 71% of the nation's 2.8 million children under the age of 17 are Jewish. A little less than 26% are Arab. Israel now has the highest fertility rate among developed countries belonging to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development.
In another exciting achievement, the Israeli army has just been recognized by the World Health Organization as having the best foreign medical team anywhere on the planet. And so far, the Jewish state is the only country to have earned that distinction. Israeli disaster relief delegations have long garnered international praise for being the first and the finest to be deployed abroad in times of crisis. Some of the most notable times that the IDF has provided critical care was during the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, the 2013 typhoon in the Philippines, and the massive tremor that rocked Nepal last year. The newly awarded status further establishes Israel's position as a world leader in emergency medicine. And it's also very much hoped that this recognition by the World Health Organization, which is a specialized agency of the UN, may help to alleviate some of the world body's negativity toward the Jewish state.
While lunar enthusiasts were out enjoying the brilliance of what NASA was calling an extra supermoon on November 14th, the phenomena had a special significance here in Israel. This was the closest the shining orb has come to Earth since the nation's founding in 1948. The moon appeared about 14% bigger and up to 30% brighter than usual. Even if the skies were cloudy, nothing could spoil the beauty of the starry night skies, both on the ancient and the modern landscapes of the Holy Land. The next supermoon won't be visible until the year 2035.
Israel, the light unto the nations, today faces attack from more than just rockets and terrorism. Calls to boycott, sanction, and divest from Israel, known as BDS, are a form of economic warfare that you can help to prevent. The Israel Allies Foundation has launched a public service campaign called Defeat BDS, offering educational tools and other resources that you can use to stand with Israel and help make a difference. Just visit the easy-to-use website at www.defeatbds.org.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here on a beautiful sunny day on our rooftop studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Nir Boms. He's professor at Tel Aviv University and the author of Expatting Democracy. Nir, thank you for being on the show.
Very good to be here.
Nir, you've done a lot of incredible work on the situation in Syria. We've seen now hundreds of thousands of people just 2.5 hours drive from here in Damascus being murdered. Why is there not more of an international outcry?
Well, I don't know why there is no more international outcry, but I do know what Israel is doing about it. And I think this is an untold story and a beautiful one. We have saved literally thousands and thousands of lives. We have treated over 3,000 Syrian injured people in our own hospitals, and we've given civic organizations over 10 million tons of aid. And this is something that is ongoing, and interestingly enough is also done in partnership with a number of Syrian groups.
You know, Israel has been doing this incredible humanitarian effort for our sworn enemy, Syria. Why isn't this more of a story? Why isn't it covered by mainstream media?
Well, I think that the mainstream media sometimes has its own ideas about what it seeks to cover, and good news don't always make it to the media, certainly not good news on Israel. But I can tell you that our Syrian friends speak about it a lot. And it is interesting enough, just a few weeks ago, when President Peres passed away, it was amazing to see how many condolences I received personally from Syrians inside Syria and outside of it.
Yeah, Syrian people are taught from birth that Israel is their sworn enemy. Are they surprised when they see that Israel is there trying to save their lives in many cases?
And some of them have even said it. We were taught that Israel is our sworn enemy, and Assad is supposed to give us back to Golan, and Israel is supposed to be the ones who are murdering us, but ended up that Israel is the one who is saving our children that are being gassed and chlorined by Assad.
It's unbelievable. You actually wrote a book called Expatting Democracy. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, the book looks at this interesting phenomena of expat groups and their quest to change in political discourse in the Middle East. And this is about trying to find friends. Expats, Syrians, Iranians, Saudis, Egyptians, those who have left their countries but are still remain very much politically involved. And the book is about trying to understand what influence they might have on their political discourse back home.
You know, in the book, you go into the Syrian situation in quite some detail. What are the expat community in Syria actually doing to affect change on the ground?
Well, they're doing three things. The first is they do humanitarian work. And many of the expat groups are involved in this by bringing aid, supporting the humanitarian situation on the ground and with the refugees. Then they try to do political and diplomatic work. And for that purpose, they're trying to create organizations and support organizations that are interested in political change. And of course, we are interested in those that are the more moderate ones, not the more Islamist or the radical ones. And the third thing that was interesting to me is their relations with Israel and those who are willing to reach out and sometimes publicly to say that Israel needs to be a part of the regional framework, the new regional framework, because this is one country that is actually aligned with the moderate part of the opposition when it comes to their fight against radical Islam and Iran from the two sides of the radical axis.
You know, I'm a huge fan of the book, and you write a little bit about the Kurdish expats. Kurdistan is trying to become a state, and there could be some relations with Israel. Is that even a possibility?
Israel had a relationship with the Kurds, certainly in Iraq in the past, and we have some relationship with the Kurds today. We see it with Kurds who have been here on a number of occasions, some of them on public visits. And there's certainly more than meets the eye. I hope that Israel will be one of the first countries to recognize a Kurdish state. I have the pleasure of occasionally being on Kurdish television speaking about what is happening here. Just a few weeks ago, it was very interesting to see that one of the only countries that had a real ceremony for President Peres's passing was done in Kurdistan. And the same, you're looking at how they treat things like the Holocaust. I hope that this relationship will continue. And certainly the Kurds have presented maturity that perhaps necessitates the possibility of a Kurdish state.
Yeah, we say that we live in a beautiful home in a very dangerous neighborhood here in Israel. What influence will expats really have on the future of the Middle East?
Expats can have and do have influence, because the world today is global. Money flows, ideas flow, media flows. So all of the discussion is global, and we have to remember that this country was also created by expats. Not so many of them were here. They had to come from other countries. The Iranian Revolution perhaps would not have happened if the French would not let Khomeini take a plane. The influence of expat is very significant, and expats are involved in many struggles all around the world because, again, the world is becoming global. It's important to work with the expats who are more moderate, the expats who are aligned, and trying to create these partnerships across the divide. When we're able to do that, we're able to help secure the interest of this country, we're able to secure the interests of the region at large. And we need to find friends, even friends that are not necessarily a part of the conventional axis, because this is the way of the future.
You know, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
The message that I have is to look around and find who is a friend and who can be a friend. Perhaps you have some friends that you didn't think that they're there. There are other people in the Middle East, in the Arab and the Muslim world, as difficult as it might be for some to believe in it, that share a certain believe in the same values, that share a certain vision of faith, and that can be allies. It's important to reach beyond. It's important to find them. It's important to work with them and empower them and to build these friendships. And just like expats can make a difference, these alliances can be made across borders, and certainly where each and every one of our viewers is.
Here, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Hello and welcome to the Return to Zion with Keren HaYesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren HaYesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, Ukrainian Jews are in great danger as they live in war-torn Ukraine. Help us fulfill biblical prophecy by bringing our brothers and sisters back home to safety. God bless you from Jerusalem.
I will even gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Ezekiel 11:17.
In eastern Ukraine, over the past 2.5 years, a brutal and cruel war has been raging. A savage war without clearly defined front lines. Against this backdrop, the Jews of eastern Ukraine have been in peril. The donors of Keren HaYesod from around the world have heeded the call and have come to their rescue. Our supporters realize that the window of opportunity to rescue these Jews may slam shut.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. Isaiah 49:18.
We are here to support, all of us, the Jewish people who return to their homeland, to support each other.
These Jews must be extracted from burning towns, from raging battles, and from the chaos of eastern Ukraine, and brought back to their ancient homeland.
Я решила приехать в Израиль, потому что я последние полгода почувствовала свои еврейские корни и поняла, что я не могу больше находиться в своей стране, и я должна вернуться на свою историческую родину.
Корни говорят сами о себе, было рвение, плюс хотелось, чтобы сын узнал.
Воссоединение с семьей, наша семья здесь сейчас, папа, мама, сестра.
Большое волнение, но как-то у меня сразу, как мы прилетели, какое-то ощущение было правильности нашего выбора.
Для будущего нашего ребенка в первую очередь.
Keren HaYesod's friends around the world have been stepping forward to enable this life-saving effort to continue. Many thousands have already been rescued, yet many thousands still remain in eastern Ukraine. They must be brought out now. Through Keren HaYesod and our partner, the Jewish Agency, our dreams, our prayers, and our hopes are coming together in fulfillment of the biblical prophecy that foresaw the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth. A great company shall they return hither. Jeremiah 31:7.
The situation is highly unpredictable, and we must not miss this chance to help. We cannot let them down. All possible resources must be mobilized in this effort. You too can play your part in this crucial mission as Keren HaYesod provides these Jews in distress with new lives in Israel. Join us. We must not forsake them in their time of need.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
The other day, I visited the Hadassah Medical Center in Jerusalem. I was there to learn about a new Israeli cure for degenerative muscle diseases. As I came out of the laboratory, I saw an extraordinary scene. I saw an Arab woman, a Muslim, wearing complete head covering, speaking to a young Israeli religious woman from the Ethiopian community, an African. And they were talking excitedly with one another in fluent Hebrew. And I thought to myself, shame. Shame on the world, anybody who accuses Israel of apartheid. Those of us of a certain generation, my generation, remember what apartheid was like. Remember apartheid in South Africa, where people of color were denied access to public restrooms, to schoolhouses, to restaurants, complete separation on the basis of race. I remember, as someone who lived in the United States, my childhood, what it was like for African Americans in the South before the Civil Rights Movement. That was apartheid. There is no apartheid in the state of Israel. On the contrary, 20% of all the doctors in Israeli hospitals are Arabs. Much of the nursing staff is Arabs. If you go to any Israeli shopping center or mall, you'll see Arabs and Jews shopping side by side peacefully. If you go to playgrounds in Israel, you will see Arab and Jewish children playing side by side. There are no separate buses, no separate restaurants, no separate hospitals. Anybody who accuses Israel of apartheid is doing an immense injustice. An immense disjustice not just to the state of Israel, but in particular to the true victims of apartheid, whether in South Africa or in the southern states of the United States before civil rights. To those who accuse Israel of apartheid, shame on you.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
We love the people of Israel, and we want to show that love through social projects that help build a stronger Israel. We're passionate about offering life-changing opportunities for the disadvantaged, youth at risk, new immigrants, and minorities that help them step into a brighter future. We desire to make a difference throughout the mosaic that is Israeli society. We call this ICEJ Aid.
Christians come to help the Jewish people. It's the dream, you know? How could it be? The Christian people come to help the Jewish people, the state of Israel. For me, it's really unimaginable.
ICEJ Aid helps families break out of the cycle of poverty through educational programs such as vocational training and mentoring towards employment, as well as offering practical aid where needed most. We also support Holocaust survivors in the last years of their life. The survivors enjoy emotional and physical support in an assisted living facility where their needs are met, and they have a community of loving staff and volunteers surrounding them.
אנחנו לעת זקנה, קשה לנו לתפקד בבית, וזה ארגון בעזרת השגרירות הנוצרית, שאני יודע שהם תומכים בנו ותומכים יפה.
Pnina from Christian Embassy appeared in our life with a lot of food and what is much more important, with their love and with their willing to support.
Together with our Israeli friends, we are partnering with the God of Israel who promised through the prophet Jeremiah, "For I will set my eyes on them for good. I will bring them back to this land. I will build them and not tear them down. I will plant him and not uproot him.
Christians around the world, they are our best friends. And Christians and Jews, we belong together.
Thank you to the Christian Embassy and Christian around the world, your support and partnership helping us to change life every day.
This aid wouldn't be possible without your help. Show the people of Israel God's love today and let her know that she's not alone. Become a partner by giving at icej.org/aid.
Experience the heart of Israel and find a renewed vision for your ministry and calling. Refresh your spirit with the Envision Pastors and Leaders Conference. Join us January 23rd through the 26th for an outpouring of knowledge and insight. Here's why you do not want to miss this conference.
I want to encourage every believer who loves God, loves the God of Israel, and loves Israel to consider being a part of Envision Conference. It's a time where you can hear from local believers, both Jewish believers and Arab, to talk about what God is doing in the land of Israel and the miracles that are happening now and the miracles to come. So would you consider being a part of this?
You'll have the opportunity to visit the Prime Minister's office and hear exclusive briefings from prominent Israeli Knesset members.
Well, if you've never been to Envision, you know there's so many blanks will be filled in your walk with God, and you get a new understanding, a new perspective of Israel and the purposes of God for our generation.
Honor the memory of lives lost in a special Holocaust remembrance ceremony at Yad Vashem.
One of the benefits of coming is the networking with like-minded individuals, a lot of young leaders in our UK gathering who are just fun to be with.
Hey, I was at Envision this year and you should come. It will enhance your life, enhance your ministry, and enhance your call.
Visit envision.icej.org for more information.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.